you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. It is just about 7 a.m. to each and every one of you joining and connecting with us as we continue to give God thanks for life. I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Ria Richardson George. And this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you viewing us in the Caribbean and those of you on the live. Good Thursday morning to you. Julian, how you been?
Yes, Ria, it's Thursday, the 1st of June, 2023. We are into the 6th month of the year. The time is going fast ahead in terms of the flow that we are seeing this time around.
Most definitely. And I'm not sure if you're like most persons who believe that today was Monday. Because we have not been on, yes, a Tuesday being the holiday and yesterday being Youth Wednesday. So it feels like a Monday morning all over again.
It felt that kind of way. Again, kudos and congrats as per usual going out to our Youth Wednesday, who's continuing to do an exceptional job. Keep up the good work indeed, as we continue to ensure here at the Tobago Updates morning show the meaningful incorporation of our young persons as they continue to go along that thrust of youth development and excellence. Congratulations indeed. Viewers, at this point, we prepare to head on over. Not just yet, Ria tells me, not just yet. She's got something else she wants to throw in the mix just before. Ria, what's been happening?
But, congratulations. And we're going to get to that in a little bit because we have a nice picture to show here. But congratulations going out to one of our daughters of the soil, the daughter of Assemblyman Trevor James, who graduated quite recently. She is now Dr. Sophia James. So we want to send out congratulations to her. And I have to jump out of my whole self here, Julian, because Sophia got her start at Kalisa's prep school, yes, where I was a teacher back in the day, just a few years ago. Let me say, just a few years ago. Yes. And she was one of those students who stood out from amongst the rest, even at age 3 and 4.
Yes, and I'll save my comments for when we get those photos. Courtesy, Dad, there's his post on Facebook. Really excellent young lady, going
Definitely
along that very positive pathway in terms of her growth and development. Very focused, but I'll save that for just when we get those photos up in the mix. I also see happening. The Prime Minister had a breakfast with the Prime Minister, with the PM, that took place at Hilton, Trinidad, where, of course, he would have made mention of the issue and addressed the issue of the current happenings in Tobago. Yeah. Specific at that to the recordings and no information coming forth just yet, indicating basically, in my words, he's looking on. He doesn't have very much to say, but he wants to make it abundantly clear if it becomes a matter of law. In the context of the law, basically no one is above the law, and in that same manner, the expectation would be that the relevant individuals, top officials, will be held to account accordingly. Very interesting as part of his appearance with the Prime Minister's breakfast. What are your thoughts about his comments? I almost thought he started by saying, I'm minding my own business for now, but as the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I want you to know that once it gets to that point, I will certainly ensure that the laws are upheld in Trinidad and Tobago, no matter where you are or who you are.
Now, as Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, of course, he has tried in the past to, for want of a better term, intervene in Tobago's affairs, and we saw where that got us. So as Prime Minister, yes, he still has the right to, but there is a Chief Secretary and a Chief Secretary in place, but we see what has been happening. So, of course, just a reminder that he's been looking on, keeping a very close eye on what has been happening.
Very interesting indeed. All right, viewers, at this point, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you so much, Julian and Maria. And here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, the 1st of June, 2023. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has warned the THA that if they are in breach of the law, he will intervene. He was speaking at a breakfast function in his honor at the Trinidad Hilton yesterday, referring to a controversial audio clip with voice resembling high-ranking THA officials. Dr. Rowley Political popularity will not prevent anyone from facing the consequences of the law if they break it. He also mentioned that as Prime Minister, he is also cautious about what he says and does in case someone is secretly recording him. He hoped that the controversy could serve as a lesson for the THA officials. Additionally, the injunction stopping the works at the Shervan Junction to Storby Local Road Connector will remain in place. According to Justice Frank C. Prasad, the EMA filed an injunction on May 26th, claiming that there will not any CEC clearances for the road construction. At a virtual hearing yesterday, Justice C. Prasad said he was not prepared to discharge the injunction at this time, but asked the parties if they were able to come to some compromise. The EMA maintained that they were not anti-development, but simply want to protect the environment. The next hearing is scheduled for July 6th. And finally, according to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, there would be no invitation extended to foreign observers for the upcoming local government elections. He responded to a call from the opposition to have observers present for the elections. Dr. Rowley stated that the PNM has a good track record of holding elections without incident and that no oversight was required. He added that if there were foreign observers, the UNC would be the ones flagged for inconsistencies, so he is doing them a favor. And that was your news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Julian and Ria.
Thank you very much there, Chanel. The latter part is very interesting. You'd be doing them a favor by not having international observers under the circumstances. But we continue to wait and we look out to see what's going to be happening specifically with the local government election. We're still anticipating. I'm not aware that a date has been announced. So we continue to look out for that date. What we have had is a time period identified for the elections, and like many, if not those in Trinidad particularly, looking out to get the confirmation of the date for local government elections.
All right,
where do we head straight on into, Ria?
We've got a birthday segment that is courtesy. Okay.
This is your birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
All right, so we've got celebrating a birthday, Kadeen Boris celebrating her birthday. So Kadeen, love going out to you today from all of us here at Tobago Updates, and we trust that you have a great one. All right, and we've also got Kalana James celebrating her birthday. Kalana, love going out to you as well, and we trust that you have a great one. 'Tis the month to celebrate, so we trust that you both enjoy. Happy birthday going out to you.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Certainly, and from birthdays, we head on into a reminder to the general public. Today, we will be celebrating the lives of Christian and Teresa Allen Adams, and the funeral takes place today at the Shore Park Complex. The viewing starts at 9 a.m., tributes from 10 a.m., and the official service from 11 a.m. And this proceeds to the interment at the Mount St. George Methodist Cemetery. So persons wishing to come out and show their support, you can feel free to head down to the Shore Park Complex from 9 a.m. this morning. And, this is also a gentle reminder to those of you heading on in. Viewing from 9, tributes from 10, and the official service from 11 a.m. And in the event that you are, outside of Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, for some reason not able to make it there in person, we will be carrying the full service live here on Tobago Updates. So you can most certainly tune into Tobago Updates for the live viewing of today's service that will take place celebrating the lives indeed. And it is also our understanding and information that they will be buried under the military rights, certainly. And we continue to send out condolences to the both families and trust that we will continue, as Tobago, as a nation, to keep them in our prayers, the families of both Christian and Teresa.
Most definitely. And again, we extend condolences on behalf of my family as well. While we may not have known them personally, they were persons that we did recognize within our Tobago space and would have seen from time to time, and were always very pleasant. So we pray for your strength, in fact, for God's strength upon you and God's peace.
All right. At this point, viewers, we're heading on over to Tobago in Focus.
Good health starts with good nutrition. The Division of Education, Research and Technology understands this, knowing that the future of Tobago lies with the nutrition of our children. The school nutrition policy is being developed for this purpose.
We must understand that the child is a whole being. What the child consumes matters. We do have a lot of wastage with particular meals as well, so we want to bring everything in a streamlined and organized manner so that we are most cost effective in our school nutrition program.
The policy, which is being examined and developed by a multi-departmental team from the division, as well as food and nutrition stakeholders, will seek to reduce waste, provide cost-effective measures, as well as establishing quality standards for meals and the stakeholders who create them.
We're also going to be reviewing the cost, the pricing, criteria for children to access the meals, because that has sort of gotten out of control a little bit over the years, moved away from the original objectives. And also the criteria for selecting and for maintaining your services as a caterer, because you have to maintain a standard.
The committee has been given a 4-month deadline for the full rollout of this policy. Technical advisor at the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Natasha Second, said work is well underway and encouraged principals, teachers and parents to participate in the process when the need arises.
We want to have policies that are very clear, policies that are very pragmatic. They're not going to simply be academic documents that are stuck in a cupboard. We want persons who work throughout the system to be able to move towards an improvingly higher quality education product, because we can measure exactly where we're going. So we want it to be transparent, and we want to have high levels of accountability throughout our entire system.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7:13 a.m. and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Viewers, in this segment, we are chatting with former chairman of the TPAC board, Len Phillips. And this morning, we're speaking the truth about the TPAC board. And, we've had some what appears to be challenges surrounding TPAC at this point. Should I say challenges or should I say changes surrounding TPAC at this point? Good morning and welcome to you, sir.
Morning. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to everyone that is locked on and viewing Tobago Updates.
All right. So as we get the conversation started, Len Phillips, you would have been appointed to serve as the first chairman of the TPAC board. I think I can still safely say recently formed, only a few years ago, in terms of getting off the ground officially. Tell us, what period would you have served as the first chairman for the board?
Okay, well, the board of directors was appointed on the 9th of September 2020, and we were supposed to be in office for a period of 2 years. Prior to that, however, there was an attempt to set up a Tobago Performing Arts Company, and there were several persons who would have worked on creating the draft for the policy and stuff like that to govern this company. But, you know, it's strange enough that the board of directors on that particular company didn't really kick off. Only had three persons on the board of directors, which was the administrator of the division, another high-ranking official of the division, and the secretary to the administrator. However, Mr. Dennis had a dream, and he wanted to revive this company. And on the 9th of September 2020, 9 persons would have been selected to run this company, well, to be on the board of directors. And I was appointed chairman along with Mr. Lance Jack as the vice chairman. And then we had Beverly Ramsey Moore, Kern Kawan, we had Arlene Daniel and Cheryl Yuzuru, with Brittany Romeo as the secretary and Giselle Charles as the ex officio officer, right? We were given a mandate to set up the company, to build the house. And this involves getting tenders out for persons who would want to apply for the various positions, starting with the CEO. And we conducted the interviews. We hired Dr. Gloria Edwards Joseph to assist us. And we conducted the interviews, starting with the CEO, and then we went on to HR and finance and stuff like that. And then all the other offices were attended to. And of course, we were in a very critical period. This was during the pandemic. And I can tell you that it was not an easy sailing. I could remember one of our members saying, we're going to fix the ship while we're sailing. I could tell you that at certain times we were so frustrated that we wanted to give up, because it wasn't easy working during the pandemic to get this thing going. I could remember the secretary, who happened to be the chief secretary at the time, wanted us to bring off a massive program for December. And when we looked at it, we said, look, we can't do this. However, by the 12th of February 2021, our CEO was in place, and we started to build out the company itself. I can tell you that the CEO is a very proactive person. If you want to get a job done, and you put Mr. Elvis Judgman there, you're going to get it done. We're finished, right? We worked very closely together during the period that he was assigned as CEO, and he himself was a part of the onboarding or the interview panel, the interview team that we dealt with the other staff that came on. Right, now there are 3 reasons why I am here. One, to talk a little about TPAC, how we build the house, and I know about how we build the house. I know where to find the light switch, the toilet bowl. If there's a secret room, we know, because we built the house. And we went along smoothly. We had various challenges, and we successfully managed the Independence Day and Republic Day programs that were assigned to us. Now, we were not there to take over from festivals or culture. Actually, what TPAC was mandated to do was to set up an orchestra. There were $2-point-something million that were approved for the purchase of equipment, musical equipment. We had all the staff persons in place in terms of people like Justin Peterkin and O.J. Richards and a host of other different professionals that we had. And we were supposed to have collaboration with the Division of Culture, where TPAC was supposed to be engaged in training of Tobagonians in the various disciplines, cultural disciplines. We had art and dance and film and music and all this kind of thing. And these persons were supposed to utilize and combine with the tutors at culture, go out into the communities, train people, have training sessions at Shore Park Complex. As a matter of fact, there are 3 floors to the back of Shore Park Complex that were given to TPAC, along with several different office spaces. And these floors were supposed to house the dance floor, the film and drama and stuff like that, there was also supposed to be an area where the musical equipment would be stored and our recording studio and all these things were in trail. However, we went along, as I said, smoothly until we came to December the 6th. December the 6th was election day. And of course, everybody knew that we were in a balance and the PDP won the election. It was said of the Chief Secretary that no board will be recognized after December 31st. Right. I could remember that I was also in a function at Chopper Complex on the 17th of December where I spoke in the capacity as chairman of the board of directors of TPAC. And we expected that everyone was going to resign. As a matter of fact, I was the first person of any board in Tobago that tendered my resignation. My resignation letter indicated that I was willing to continue if considered, and also indicated that it was given pending the appointment of a new board. I didn't put a date to say I resigned on the 14th or the 13th with immediate effect, as the case might be. However, to our great surprise, at the end of December, or coming to the end of December, we all received payment up to the 6th of December. That is my first problem. I contacted the CEO. I said, where's this? I said, why are we paid up to the 6th of December? That is election day. He told me that you have to remember that we were appointed and not contracted. I said, what does that have to do with that? To this date, we have not received our balance of our stipend payments. I've written to the secretary concerning it. I got a letter, a response saying that they acknowledged the letter, and then nothing happened. And I sent 2 other correspondents, this time to the chief secretary, to the administrator, to Mr. Rajman, and to the secretary. And to date, nobody has thought it fit to respond to that. As a matter of fact, it looked as though when the new party came in, all they were concerned about is getting rid of those who were there. Probably we belong to something that they didn't approve of, right? But the thing is, the second point with me, that's the first point, is that we are not paid, we are paid up to the 6th of December. I cannot understand how we're going to justify that, because the 6th of December is election day. Nobody in handover, nothing yet. Nobody in getting to office. There's no secretary in place, no chief secretary in place. All we know that the government has changed in Tobago. But here we have the CEO ordering his staff, his accounting staff, to pay the board up to the 6th of December. I still am awaiting that response. There are a lot of things behind it, but I ain't going into that.
But we'd leave it right there for just a bit. We want to take a quick break. What we've started to get, folks, the perspective of Len Phillips, former chairman of TPAC, the first chairman of TPAC. We're speaking to the TPAC board and some of the happenings currently at TPAC. So we will be continuing the conversation, but we just want to remind you at this point, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Run when you hear that. I said run when you hear that. You better run when you hear that. I said run when you hear that. You better run when you hear that. Run when you hear that.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We continue in this segment our conversation with Len Phillips, the first chairman of the TPAC. And as we, in the first segment, we looked broadly in terms of the work of that first board that would have operated before what is now the second board leading TPAC under this current administration. You would have put out a post on social media highlighting a number of the concerns which you have just raised in the first segment. My question to you, why now?
Okay. Now, somebody sent me a post that was done by Mr. Rajman. I'm going to read it for you. It says, and this is talking about the present board or the board that was there after we were kicked out, right? It says, worst state company board ever. All they knew to do was to destroy and do so in record time. Good riddance, and hope that none of you are ever selected to manage anything policy focused, strategic, creative, or anything that requires common sense. Worst. Time for my people to get back to dream. And then his wife backed him up. To think that last year around this time, Tobago was featuring positively around the globe, bitter cassava, and we were all proud. This year, the whole thing mashed up. Staff frustrated, nothing produced. Failure, rings bell, shame. Now, this is what caused me to come out. It's not that I hold any special affection for the board, but this board that was put in, after we were kicked out, they know nothing about the house. They have not seen any articles of incorporation. They know nothing about the org chart. They know nothing about the mandate. They have seen no reports. And let me tell you something. When we got into office, I didn't go into office with all the knowledge that I have now. I had to educate myself to understand how a chairman of a board should function. What are the protocols? The first thing that I did was to call in a professional to train the board. We had 2 days of training, whole day. And I want to thank the former administrator, Mrs. Wendy Guy Hernandez, for facilitating those training sessions, because at that time we had no money. And the money came from the revision. And we successfully had those sessions because we needed to come on board to know what to do, how to handle this thing, this mammoth task that we have been given.
So
right?
tell me something before you go on. We want to make the connection. Right now, we're in a circumstance where it is, we are seeing that the CEO has been sent off on administrative leave. There appears to be an audit and so on, those things happening. What are your thoughts in relation to that? Because quite obviously, they would be looking at that period where you also served as chairman of the board, because I don't think there'll be an audit to investigate this board itself in terms of its current term of office that it's currently under, but rather it would be looking at what may be that past period. How do you feel about that as the first chairman?
Nobody has contacted me. People don't talk to me in this present what we have. Nobody has contacted me to find out anything. Yes, there are some people, right? After all, no report or nothing that was done in my time was done without the approval of the entire board. And let me tell you, one of our members was in Canada. We met by Zoom. We hardly met physically because COVID, right? And at a certain time, we really wanted to give up because it was tough, right? It is unfair. It is not right for the CEO to be lambasting this board, making this board that just went look as though that is the problem why TPAC is not now functioning as it was supposed to function. It is unfair.
So what
and that is one, not that I'm kind of defending
what would you say is the problem from your perspective?
The problem is that for a time between December, after we were kicked out, between that time and when the new board was set up later on in the year, in March or somewhere around there was no board. So therefore, you had a CEO in a company doing what you want. So and I'm not here to bash. This is facts, right? Doing exactly what I want. I'm talking about bitter cassava.
So then do you say that, so are you then saying that you support the investigation or the audit or whatever is being done currently by the board?
Well, of course, I support that because we need to find out what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know why he's on, I don't know all the details. Let me put it that way.
Yes.
I heard rumors. No, I have not been fed information by anyone. I am informed by what I see on social media. And you can't stop me from talking to people that I know. It's not my business to go around the place talking about TPAC business that I don't know about, right? But at the same time, I will talk about what I know about. Because if we build the house and you bring in new people, they don't know where to find nothing. They are not informed. There's no follow-on. There's no handing over. No handing over. Nothing. You just bring a new set of people and put them in a house that they didn't build. They don't know where to find nothing. And there's no consultation, no appreciation, no recognition. They didn't even remember if we were there. They don't even know. I don't even think that the persons in charge know what the real mandate is. And then again, if you follow the chain of command, everything is going to go fine. That's what we did. From the Executive Council, you come down to the line secretary. The line secretary, then you have the board of directors, and then you have the CEO/executive assistant, and then you come down to HR, finance, and the other portfolios. If you follow those chains of commands, then you don't have a problem, right? But if you have the chairman of the board, now I am not saying that happened. I'm just saying if you have the chairman of the board in a compromising position, either with the administrator or with the CEO or with the secretary, then you have a problem.
Is that an allegation that the chairman of the board is in a compromising position?
It is alleged.
All right.
It is alleged.
All right, folks. So
right?
Yes, but we just out of time this morning.
I do have courthouse clues, but I have evidence.
All right. Very interesting perspective here coming from the first chairman of TPAC, Mr. Len Phillips, this morning in this first segment. We want to thank you very much for joining us here on set, giving his perspective and his opinion in relation to the CEO and the current board in terms of its operations for TPAC. We also want to thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. And at this point, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
they're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are chatting this morning with Pamela O'Geist, the Assistant Chief Elections Officer at the EBC. And this morning our focus is on the National Field Verification Exercise. She'll tell us more about it. Good morning and welcome to Ms. O'Geist.
Good morning, and thank you for airing us and allowing us the opportunity to share this exercise. So the Elections and Boundaries Commission embarked on a national field verification exercise on Friday, May the 25th.
Right.
So when I say embark, it meant that our people were on the field on Friday the 25th. Prior to that, of course, we had the training sessions throughout the country, and Tobago was the pilot of this exercise.
All right, now tell us here, what sort of information is the EBC looking for, and how does it affect the upcoming elections?
Well, the information we're seeking is really verification information, right? So we already have on our list of electors persons who would have registered with us. One can appreciate that registration is voluntary, so that persons do not take the opportunity to inform the organization when they move from one location to the next. So you may have been registered, say, Signal Hill, and when you were perhaps 15 years old, and now living at Bonaccord, but failed to notify us. So your name will still be reflected against Signal Hill. So this exercise is mainly to clean the list, so to speak, in terms of having persons properly reflected against the addresses which they live at, or registered at, rather. Also, one would appreciate during the COVID period, for instance, we had quite a lot of persons who passed during the COVID and passed out of the country. So we would not have been notified of such. So this is a perfect opportunity for us to capitalize on persons who would have passed.
Okay. Now, I want you to make it clear for viewers this morning in terms of that information, where I lived when I was first registered, maybe Signal Hill, as you said, which is very true, which is very true. But then over a period of time, I would have moved, maybe according to Bonaccord, Delaford, Charlottesville. But how important is that information?
Well,
is having that information?
That information, the accuracy of that is really so that persons are properly reflected against the address which they live at. Now, one has to understand, as I mentioned before, that registration is voluntary. So any change in information, the individual has to come willingly to share that. I want to be very specific here that this is not a survey, totally different from a survey. Also, it is not a registration exercise. In essence, this is a verification exercise, a field verification exercise. So we already have the information, and all we are doing is verifying what we have.
Okay, so you're asking for the persons who live, the names of the individuals who live in the particular house, street.
Okay, so our IROs, as we term them, itinerant assistant registration officers, are currently in the field. They can be easily identified by the EBC branded clothes. So you have the caps, you have the precepts, you have the blazers, the EBC bags, right? So they are currently on the field. What they have with them are lists of persons and, of course, photographs to help in the identification process. So one would approach a household and ask for information. So using an address, one will come and say, hi, I am from the Elections and Boundaries Commission. Can you confirm that Mr. ABC lives at this address? And one can look at the photo to confirm. So we're asking, again, persons to be cooperative to these officers. I can share if I'm able to.
Yes, please.
So the experiences, so yesterday, not Monday, sorry. I'm forgetting with this holiday. Yesterday.
Right,
so we had
Wednesday.
persons, yes, yesterday, Wednesday. We had persons coming back from the field. And we got some reports about some of their encounters. And I was pretty appalled to hear that, some persons would even let loose their dogs on persons. So again, I want to plead to the public. This is a national exercise. This is not about any election. This is a verification exercise conducted by the Elections and Boundaries. So all we're seeking to do is verify information which we already have. So IROs were trained, so of course they would be courteous and certainly display a level of professionalism, and all we're asking for is the cooperation of the public.
That is unfortunate to hear what you just mentioned there, letting loose dogs on your IROs. Again, this is all voluntary, viewers. This is all voluntary, and of course, it's going to aid. It's going to aid the EBC in their future plans. And in fact, all of Trinidad and Tobago's future plans. So we're asking that persons be as cooperative as they can be. Yeah. Unfortunate. And in terms of how many IROs do you have covering the island of Tobago?
We roughly have about 55 persons throughout the island. Of course, well, daily they are out. They capitalize greatly on the weekends and the holidays, right? So we expect, well, persons to cooperate, as I said. They are, as I said, easily recognizable so that you can ask. We also have some hotline numbers for persons who have concerns, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
So those numbers are 704-1132, 704-1169, 704-2148, and 704-1628. So persons can feel free to call just to confirm, alleviate any fear or concern you have. So we have a full listing of our IROs who are on the field. So it's just a matter of confirming your fears, and of course we'll cooperate. We hope that you would cooperate to share the information with us.
Okay. When was the last time a verification exercise such as this was held?
So that the last exercise was held in 2001. So one would appreciate the need to have this done again. So that's over 20 years ago.
And why such a long lapse?
From time to time, the commission would see the need to do things, but you'd also appreciate that over the years we've had like so many elections happening. We had the COVID pandemic, so there were so many things. So whilst we knew that ever so often you need to do one, it's also a very costly exercise and has to be properly planned and, of course, executed well. So it takes quite a lot of planning before we can execute an exercise like this.
All right, so your information to the public would be?
My information to the public, excuse me, is to one, share. Please be cooperative to our IROs. Share as much as you can. I want to assure you that all information shared would be kept strictly confidential. We are asking that if you have information on persons who are deceased, family members, etc., that you share that. I want to also assure you that even after we receive information, perhaps about persons who are deceased, our permanent staff will then conduct that further investigation before the removal of any person's names, any persons who claim to be deceased. Yes? So our persons would be in the field subsequently to confirm that information. So there's no fear of sharing the information and wondering if, because you shared, that someone's name would be removed.
Okay. And your staff was also out on the holiday Tuesday?
Correct. Both Saturday, Sunday, and the holiday. So we were, of course, on the field as well, just to monitor and see how persons were going. And I must say that so far we've had good results. We're getting good results. Apart from that incident and other minor incidents, I want to thank the public of Tobago, the citizens of Tobago, more so for sharing and allowing us to at least access the information.
Is there a particular time frame within which you need to garner all of this information?
We average a 6 to 8 week span for Tobago. And of course, this exercise is expected to roll out in Trinidad in the next week.
All right, so you started, Tobago being the pilot, you started here?
Correct. We actually started the training in Tobago. And so why not start the exercise in Tobago? And then we move on to Central and the other areas in Trinidad.
Okay. Remind us again of the information that you're seeking. Name?
So we're seeking information as it relates to persons still living at the address they registered at. Right. That's one. We're also seeking information on persons who perhaps have migrated and, in the true sense of the word, And there's a distinction between that and persons who have relocated. Right? So there's a distinction.
Yes.
Again, we're seeking information on persons who perhaps are no longer with us, deceased, that is, and those, again, we will verify. So those absolutely would be removed once we have confirmed that such persons have died. Right? But the other information, hardly would we interfere with that. So even the persons who have migrated, there is no decision as to what will happen with those names. So just to alleviate any fear that people may have about a family member's name being removed from the list, that is not the issue. So our intention is really to have a clean list of electors, as clean as possible. Yes?
Okay, and these are all persons over the age of 18 who would have registered at one point in time?
Correct. So electors, there's a list of electors. So we're trying to purge this list as much as possible if there's any need. And as I said, the main priority are really the deceased persons. So this is the list of electors which would constitute persons over the age of 18.
Okay, and if you could just give us those numbers again, those hotline numbers to call?
Sure. So those numbers are 704. 704-1132, 704-1169, 704-2148, 704-1628. Persons would be at these hotline numbers from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And also to add that even our IROs would be on the field from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So we're asking again the public to cooperate with us, to be courteous to our officers, please, and again to remind you that all information collected would be kept in strict confidence.
All right. Now, I'm asking here because there seems to be little. There seems to be, let me not say little, but there seems to be some persons in the public who have some mistrust in the EBC.
I wouldn't say mistrust. I would say perhaps lack of information. Because in the training of these IEROs, we shared that our experiences have shown that persons are willing to share information with us. Persons are willing to collaborate with us. So I would more deem it as not being knowledgeable of the organization. So again, to say, this is not a registration process.
And this is not an election.
And it's not an election-driven process. So the advertisements for these would have been on the air, I think, since January, right? Persons would have applied for this position. It is not a registration process. It's not a census. We are not doing any such exercises on the field. It's just a verification exercise.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the program with us this morning, Ms. Auguste. And again, this is a call for the general public to get on board and assist as best as possible.
Thank you. And thank you again.
You're welcome. Well, viewers, we thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We've got lots more coming up this morning on the Tobago Updates morning show. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago.
Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
TPAC. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. TPAC. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. TPAC. The future is here. Contact us today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We just at about 7:52 a.m. And just before we head on into this final segment this morning, we wanted to take the time out in some good stuff. We started a bit earlier, and we should have the photographs now to highlight and to recognize. And now, what is it, Ria? Dr.
Sophia
Dr.
James.
Sophia James, continuing indeed, one of our very own here in Tobago, the daughter of Trevor and Shira Carrington James, certainly making them proud, making the family proud, and in fact Tobago proud.
That's right.
Ria and I was saying earlier, I wanted to save it particularly for the photos courtesy Trevor James, in terms of a proud dad and mom. Mom is not as active on Facebook, so certainly I'm sure he's representing the both of them.
Yes.
But I've had the opportunity to work with her through Interact, the Interact Club of Southwest Tobago, a really dynamic individual. And what has been always a positive thing for me is that the parents' kind of upbringing did not just lead them exclusively to academics.
No.
And they have done extremely well, Trevira, and continuing and so on. So I really want to send my congratulations out to Dr. Sophia James this morning. I'm saying it here and I'm sitting proud indeed. So I can only imagine the joy on the part of your parents. And we really want to wish you sincere congratulations, commendations, and all the best as you continue to go forth.
As well from the staff of Kalisa's prep school, Auntie Lisa, Auntie Pinky, all of the aunties, Auntie Nedra, and all of the aunties, we want to say congratulations to Sophia as well. And indeed, looking back, her parents were always very actively involved in her education from the level of early childhood. All right, I often say Sophia was one of those students that stood out, very, very different, a very different 4-year-old.
Yes, and I love the way that he described, mom's always putting that extra edge. And in his post, he didn't forget to acknowledge that, as he said, super mom, Shira Carrington James.
That's right.
Nice title, appropriate,
That's right.
appropriate title in the mix. Kudos and congratulations. And heading on over, we're going into the final segment here this morning. This little piggy is tired. Yes, folks, you heard it correctly. This morning, we should have on the line with us our cast members, Mary Tanka and Andrew Friday. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. That's actually Zoe Marie.
Give me the correction again.
It's Zoe Marie, so that's Z-O-M-A-R-I.
Zoe Marie. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us here on set on the Tobago Updates morning show. This little piggy is tired. Let's start with the obvious, your inspiration.
No, let's start by saying any resemblance to real people and events is purely coincidental.
Yes.
Or is it?
Or is it?
So let's start a little bit in terms of, we know that you would have been able to hit certain areas in Trinidad thus far before coming across to Tobago. Tell us a little bit, how has the response been thus far?
I mean, the response has been absolutely phenomenal. We would have started in March, and we've certainly done the rounds in Trinidad, starting at Napa, heading to Sapa, we've been to CLR, and we've been to Queen Soul, and audiences are absolutely enjoying this play. It is entertaining from the first moment to the absolutely last moment to the curtain call. Audiences are absolutely loving the play.
All right, tell us what went into this production. Now we understand the title. We understand the title, and I think it was phenomenal from the get-go, from the title. But tell us what went into putting this on stage.
Well, Andrew, you wanna start, and I could also chime in there as well.
I thought Andrew was a little tired this morning. He wasn't saying much. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, I worked last night, but I still have the energy, right? Our playwright, Ricardo Samuel, he is phenomenal at what he does, and art imitates life. And we in Trinidad, we love a good story, or we Trinis have zero chill. So Ricardo, true to form as a Trini, he built a script around some real life events. So it's based on, but not about. There is more to the play than just the current event that everyone, has been floating all over social media. So in the space of 2 weeks, we started rehearsals and we put the show together. And the response from the first show in Napa's car park was full. Napa, the auditorium was full. Then we went to South, then we went to CLR, and so far, we've just been getting positive reviews.
So I know that you are Andrew and Zumari here now on set with us. But tell us a little bit about when it comes to in character. Who do we have here with us when it comes to character? It's Solomon and?
So, Evelyn. So, Andrew would have mentioned, it's really a beautifully written piece by Ricardo Samuel, and just really a lot of meat in there, because when it comes to theatre, we make you laugh, but we make you think, their characters, there's a lot of different storylines, and there's definitely a lot to take away, of course, apart from absolutely laughing and laughing and laughing. There's a lot to also take away from the production, and the characters are also individual and beautiful and solid in their own right. And it's been an amazing journey from rehearsals to actually performing. A little bit about Evelyn. She's strong. She's lovely. She's fun, but don't cross her. Don't cross her.
Brother Solomon, how do you feel about that role? How has the experience been as you are energized and ready to go this morning?
Well, as the lead, yes, I had the most lines, and Zomri will tell you, everyone had to bear with me because I still had work during the day. I had to come to rehearsals, and it was real pace. It was real pace, but we got it in the end. And the beauty about this show is that the characters keep developing. Every show is like a snowflake, because yes, our directors keep giving us notes at the end of every show, and we build on those notes. We take those notes and we build our characters. We build the story. We build our scenes. We build our interactions and our dialogue. So what you see once, if you saw the show in Napa, when the show comes to Port of Spain again, you would do well to come and see it again. The show will be coming to Sapa the following week. Whoever saw it the last week, come back and see it, because you won't be seeing the same show. But when the show started, I did say we have to go to Tobago. We have to go to Tobago.
Tell us about our Tobago date time. Where is this happening, and how persons can get tickets?
All right, so it's sorry. So
you go.
That's all right. Yes, you can chime in. But this Saturday, June 3rd, at Shaw Park, 8:30 p.m. Come out to see This Little Piggy Is Tired. Shaw Park, we are ready. We've been, touring. We are so excited to bring this phenomenal, hilarious production to Tobago. So come out in your numbers. We can give you some ticket info. Andrew, I don't know if you want to say a little bit more there. on.
Right, so folks, you can get you
Where
can
can they
get
find them?
tickets at Shaw Park Complex, Jade Monkey Bar in Milford Road, Yellow Butterfly Studios and Art Gallery on Milford Road in Scarborough, and Pablo's Supermarket in Roxborough.
All right. Now, John, folks, let me ask you here. From what you've seen having done the production, having rolled it out, is there an opportunity for This Piggy is Tired 2? Do we get to see piggies running around on the beach? I don't know.
This little piggy is tired. You mean? You listen, you never know. You know what I mean? I would just say stay tuned. I mean, as you know, Andrew would have mentioned, this play is brilliantly written by Ricardo Samuel, directed by Richard Raghubar and Deborah Buko Mason, a phenomenal duo. And, you know, we're just so excited to bring this production to Tobago. As to part 2 and 3, you absolutely never know. But for right now, Just Little Piggy is Tired is coming to Tobago. I also wanted to add that you can also contact to secure your seats, that is, and find out more information, contact RSRR Productions at 338-6024 and 744-7581. So that's some additional information. They're also on Facebook and Instagram, RSRR Productions, also on TikTok. So you can go to the Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and get a lot of information there as well.
All right.
Yes. So in terms of part 2 and part 3,
right? You
in terms of part 2 and part 3
this morning. Remind our viewers, daytime venue, and why is this a must attend? You see Solomon set up for this one.
Folks. I should take off my glasses and clean my glasses and you know. That's what old Tobago saying. Anyways, so This Little Piggy is coming to Shaw Park Complex on Saturday, the 3rd of June at 8:30 p.m. Showtime is 8:30 p.m. So make sure you get there on time. The house usually opens at 8, right? So get in there, get your good seats, and trust me, get some good seats, right? Get some good seats. We have a huge surprise that is really going to have our audience on their toes, right? And as I said, art imitates life. So as much as life happens, as much as life continues to happen, This Little Piggy will have more to do. So no time for This Little Piggy to be tired yet.
Not at all. This Little Piggy is now getting started, right? Plenty stamina.
Yes. From supper to Shaw Park, This Little Piggy is coming to Tobago.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us here on set, Zumari Tanka and Andrew Friday. Cast members and folks, as expected, mid-interview, they've already started to give you a taste of what to expect. You have real speechless here. Oh, indeed, certainly, and I trust that we persons would head out. Let's get the experience. Sometimes you need that kind of comedy in life to just rock back and relax for a bit. And I think they've been clearly indicating that this is for an adult audience, really.
Only.
This is for an adult audience only. I see some of our cast members lined up there with excitement and ready to head on out.
Camera too.
Indeed, because This Little Piggy is tired, all right?
But when they say mature audiences, let's not put anything in the minds of our children that were not already there.
Mature audience
right?
only.
Yes,
Mature audience only. And it's nice how they've taken, what might be, a very interesting matter. And turn it into a very full, and turn it into a very full production. Very interesting. We'd look out to see what happens there come Saturday. It's happening here in Tobago at Shaw Park Complex from 8:30. So we thank you so much. Rhea, we are in that final segment wrapping up here this morning for the Tobago Updates morning show. It's been a beautiful morning indeed. Really, really beautiful morning. Yesterday is Tuesday, the 1st of June. And as indicated earlier, the funeral service takes place at Shaw Park Complex from 9 a.m. this morning. Straight on in the viewing starts at 9 and then it culminates at 11. with the official ceremony, and we will be going live here from Tobago Updates. As a reminder to persons, the viewing from 9 a.m., tributes from 10 a.m., and the official service will run from 11 a.m. and we are going live here from Tobago Updates, celebrating the lives of Christian and Teresa Allen Adams. All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for your continued love and support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. We continue to express our sincere appreciation each and every morning that you decide to head on over to ensure that you get our full show for you.
All right, I'm understanding this morning that Assemblyman Trevor James is going to be on this morning for the full hour of GMT. So you want to stay locked on to the Tobago Updates GMT.
Yes, as we head on over. All right, so folks, we're prepared to head on over to GMT, and we want to remind you as we send you out there, don't log off just yet. We're heading over to GMT, and look out for Tobago Notes.
Hey, I'm last off the bus today, and that's only because I'm rolling with the Commonwealth contingent that's on the island to tour some of the facilities and accommodation ahead of the 2023 Commonwealth Youth Games to be held in August. So stay with us, it promises to be fun.
As far as I'm concerned, the Commonwealth Games have well and truly started, because by the time teams come sending out their teams to do the reconnoiter, recce patrols, as the military people would say, they are already in games mode. They want to find out what the hotel accommodation is like, what the playing facilities are like, what the playing conditions are like. They're enjoying it, they're enjoying the experience so far, and also they're doing some serious work, because they are doing formal reports and everything that they've seen, and so far everybody seems to be satisfied.
Everybody loves the hotels. We even getting there saying, oh, I want to come here, I want to stay here. They prefer to be over here for the games. They're really excited about what they're saying at the Magdalena and Mount Irving, and they love the Boko atmosphere, all the shopper facilities.
It's the first time I've been to Tobago. I really enjoyed the entire site visits, the facilities, the accommodation. Everyone was very nice. Everyone was very accommodating. The venues are acceptable. The island is beautiful. It's clean. It's refreshing. It's everything. It's one of these places that's like a little piece of paradise. Although I'm from Barbados and that's paradise, but it's a little piece of paradise. So this is the feeling of everybody. We have Guyana, Canada, Kenya, Northern Ireland. So that's how we felt. We had a really good time today.
It was a really fun group. We had a great time. It has me even more excited about what's to come in August for the Commonwealth Youth Games Tobago 2023. And of course, it's from August 2nd to 12th. So you don't want to miss it. And we at the Information Department will be keeping you abreast of all the happenings leading straight up to the games.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, you know whenever you see me here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have to get your morning started. And I'm going to ask those questions that you want to know. Now, as we kick off our discussions this morning, we're going to have some interesting conversation as I have an hour-long chat with a man that we want to hear from right now, who is the Secretary for Infrastructure, and that is Mr. Trevor James. He's also Assemblyman Trevor James. But before we get into that conversation, guys, I want to start off by giving you the news in 90 seconds. So Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has warned the THA that if they are in breach of the law, he will intervene. He was speaking at a breakfast function in honor of the breakfast function in his honor at the Trinidad Hilton yesterday, referring to a controversial audio clip with voice resembling high-ranking THA officials. Dr. Rowley's political popularity will not prevent anyone from facing the consequences of the law if they break it. He also mentioned that as Prime Minister, he is also cautious about what he says and does in case someone is secretly recording him. He hoped that the controversy could serve as a lesson for the current THA officials. Additionally, the injunction stopping work on the Shervan Junction to Storby Local Road Connector will remain in place. According to Justice Frank C. Prasad, the EMA filed an injunction on May 26, claiming that there were not any CEC clearances for the road construction. At a virtual hearing yesterday, Justice C. Prasad said he was not prepared to discharge the injunction at this time, but asked the parties if there was room for compromise. The EMA maintained that they were not anti-development, but simply want to protect the environment. The next hearing is scheduled for July 6th. And finally, according to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, there would be no invitation extended to foreign observers for the upcoming local government elections. He responded to a call by the opposition leader to have observers present for the elections. Dr. Rowley stated that the PNM has a good track record of holding elections without incident and that no oversight was required. He added that if there were foreign observers, the UNC would be the ones flagged for inconsistencies. So he is doing them a favor. Guys, again, this morning, as I indicated earlier, we're about to have some conversation. And as we get into those conversations, we're going to highlight a bit of what was discussed in our News in 90 Seconds or second story, which has to do with EMA clearance for that Shervan Road to Storby Local Connector Road. And as we have that discussion this morning, I have the pleasure of speaking with Assemblyman Trevor James, who is the Secretary for Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. Good morning, Mr. James.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Tobago Updates. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad.
And I'm sure that you are just as excited as me this morning to have an extensive conversation regarding development here on the island, and specifically this Storby, Shervan to Storby Connector Road that we have heard a lot about in the last 2 weeks in regards to EMA clearance. We had the Friendship Estate coming out, members who live in the back there coming out and showing their concern about the environmental impact and the impact on their property. So this morning we look forward to having that conversation. As we get into that conversation, one of the things that was highlighted in the press release that was released recently from your division was that this project was not something that recently came about. It was one that was initiated initially in its initial stages, planned by the previous administration, and you, in your capacity as secretary, have decided to take on the initiative to actually get it done. So let's talk about the initiation of the project, the conceptual stages of that. You came in and met the plan there already, and what was the reasoning behind deciding that this year, particularly now, was the time to go ahead with that route?
Thank you, Chanel. Before I start, though, let me wish my daughter happy birthday today. I missed Julian's section, but today is the birthday of my first daughter, and I'm going to wish her happy birthday and welcome the newest doctor in Tobago, Dr. Safia and James. Now, the project to connect Cove to Storby Local Road and to connect Shervan to that connector is a project that has been on the books for a long time. It has been designed by Pure. We came in, met some of the design, some of the information, and we looked last year at trying to do this prepare for the carnival to alleviate a lot of the traffic congestion in preparation for the airport, to see how the road would work as the airport is built out and the commute, how that would work. We tendered that project last year through our design, build, finance strategy, but we took a decision to delay the start because we wanted to ensure that the timing of the repayment was at a point down the road when we could meet the commitment, and we didn't want to start several design, build, finance projects at the same time and have the same commitment down the road as we have today with the plethora of projects that executed by the former administration, all coming to bear to place demands on the limited budget that we have. Now, the issue here with the EMA is mostly sub judice now because it is before the court. But I want to point to Begonians to the politics behind this issue, because we believe strongly that a lot of this issue is political.
And we're going to get into that. So we just wanted to start it off with getting a little background on the project. And you said that a lot of it was initiated by the construction of that airport, as well as Carnival happening in October. So that was a little bit about the reasoning behind why you decided to go ahead with that project. Because there is a lot being said about some of the main roads that already exist in Tobago, and why we decided to focus on creating this new road for that very same purpose that you indicated, as opposed to focusing on fixing the existing road and infrastructure issues that already exist.
That's a conversation, Chanel, that we will always have in Tobago, and that conversation essentially is because of the budgetary constraints that we have. We cannot have a situation where we spend the entire budget that we have on maintenance works. That way the island does not move and we remain mired 20 years ago. If you look at what is happening in Trinidad across the island, there's a whole list of projects that have been executed over the last few years and on the books to be executed. We being limited by the fact that the governments of Port of Spain do not give us the 6.9% that we deserve, being limited to the fact that we don't get an equal share of the marine revenue that we collect. We in this administration need to find ways to move the development continuum in Tobago forward, and certainly we must spread and try to balance new development with maintenance. No doubt, the road infrastructure in Tobago is terrible. It's not a consequence of the last year. Some of it might have deteriorated a little more after the last rains of last year. But essentially, we have inherited, after 21, 22 years of an administration, probably the worst infrastructure in the whole of Trinidad and Tobago. And we are doing our best to keep abreast, to maintain those roads. WASA is a major challenge. I suppose WASA's aging pipeline infrastructure is a major challenge along the roadways. And every time we look, WASA is digging somewhere. And we are yet to come to terms with WASA through an MOU of how they will pay for this destruction on the roadways. But certainly, I don't think it is good strategy. I don't think it is good government to say, let's just repair the roads that we have and hope that somehow somebody would give us some money to develop new roads next 20 years. It just can't be that.
Right. And during the election period, the last elections, you were one of the proponents of inclusion and including Tobagonians in decision making. You would have highlighted a number of projects that the central government was undertaking on the island that the THA had no idea about or no real understanding about. And so the question is, what type of buy-in did you seek from Tobagonians in relation to consultation with this road?
Chanel, when we came into office, we've had the biggest consultation ever seen in Tobago, ever seen in Trinidad and Tobago. We are about consulting with the people. Like I said, this is not a new road. This is not a new idea. Similar to the one from Smithfield. These are not new roads. These are not new projects. These are projects we have seen on the books that we've decided to execute. In terms of consultation, we have, through the estate, one family who lives on the estate. So the consultation we are talking about is consultation to decide whether people think this is a priority today or a priority tomorrow. We elect a government, we elect an executive to make these decisions. Do we want to consult? Absolutely, we will consult. But there is a balance you have to strike between timely consultation and execution of projects.
But can it be said that it's a bit late to consult on a project like this now that it has already begun, its undertaking has already started?
Well, I'm not saying that we should have consulted on this to decide whether we should do it or not, because that could be the only decision that the consultation would bring. This is a design that was in place, a plan that was in place by the previous administration. This is something, it is like Viv Richards saying, we must hit the gaps when we play. This is a gap that we are trying to fill. And the division took a decision to move forward as expeditiously as possible, and we are here today. Where we are today, though, gives us the opportunity to test Section 27 of the THA Act again. You may be too young to remember, but the THA administration under Mr. Charles took the central government to court and got an injunction to stop the Ministry of Works from paving roads in Tobago. And as soon as the administration under Mr. London came into being, one of the first things they did was to remove that injunction. Therefore, what we have seen and what we are continuing to see today, it is two different perspectives. A non-PNM perspective that says the THA Act provides us with power through the 5th, 6th, and 7th clauses. Through clauses 25, 26, and 27 through the 5th schedule. And we have a PNM administration that says we want to allow the government in Trinidad to do whatever they want in Tobago. And we are still here 27 years after, grappling with this idea of who should execute what, who should do what, who has what responsibility. And this action by the EMA, wrongly as I think, allows the courts to determine again whether Section 27 of the THA Act has any meaning or what the meaning should be. And I just want to read it for the people of Tobago. The THA Act under the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, Section 27 says, where services fall within the responsibility of the Assembly pursuant to Section 25(1), which talks about the 5th schedule, or where the Assembly acts as agents of the government, statutory authority, or state enterprise, pursuant to Section 26(2), the services shall be administered by the Assembly.
But that does not stop the EMA from implementing their policies or functioning in the capacity that they need to function, because they have
But that's a question.
They have
That's
an
a
oversight function.
That's a question which will answer, Chanel.
Yeah,
You're not asking a question, you're making a statement.
Yes, well, I know from what they have on their website, what their function is to function as an oversight body for any projects that are taking place, whether it be from the private or public sector,
And
that
I'm
will have an
saying to
environmental
you, and I'm saying
impact.
to you, we have to be very careful how we as Tobagonians interpret the pieces of legislation that are on the books. This section is clear.
But this says that we function as under the state, right?
No. This section says
it says that
the services shall be administered by the THA. That's what it says.
As
Doesn't
an
say we
agent
function
of the state. Can you read it over one more time?
where services fall within the responsibility of the Assembly under the 5th schedule through section 25(1), or where the Assembly acts as agent of the government, statutory authority, or state enterprise pursuant to section 26(2), the services shall be administered by the Assembly.
Right.
Shall be administered.
All state agencies are subject to the policies and the laws of the EMA when major projects are being undertaken.
I'm not suggesting that we are not subject to the policy. We're not talking policy and administration are two different things. The policy is set through the EMA, to the Environmental Act. The administering it is the responsibility of the THA. We are not trying to change the policy.
So are you saying that the EMA should not have jurisdiction over the projects in Tobago?
Well, that's my belief. My belief, and I believe the EMA believes that as well. And I can say that because the EMA has sat by for years and allowed previous THA to execute projects without approval. So the EMA must believe that. I mean, I can go through a whole list of projects that the THA, under the last administration, for several administrations back, had no approval. And even cases where the EMA wrote the THA and gave them a stop order and said they will not get a CC to stop the project, the THA then still continued the project to completion without an injunction from the EMA. So we believe that this has to be political.
Okay, and if you do believe it is political, have your legal representative filed a motion for the court to give the EMA a particular time frame within which they have to make the decision regarding the project?
No, the EMA, like anybody, can go to court and ask an injunction.
Of course, but I'm saying...
The EMA has done that, and we are treating the matter in court. I don't want to discuss the court matter in itself to any extent, but the EMA has filed an injunction. We are represented at the court. We had the first meeting of the court on the matter yesterday. Out of that, the judge has given directions which we will follow, and we will come back to the court in due time to represent what we think the position of the THA and the people of Tobago should be. But we have to be very careful in Tobago. The rights we give up. We have struggled for years to come to this place of this Act 40 of 1996.
And
we have to be
highlighted
very,
that you
very
strongly
careful.
believe that this could be political, right? In really
No,
stifling...
that's my opinion. I don't speak my opinion as well as fact.
In stifling the developmental goals of the THA. So it is based on that premise that I'm asking, is it not reasonable for you to then request from the court that they give the EMA a particular time within which they need to respond to the THA for this project? Because if we leave it up in the air, isn't it going to allow the EMA to even further delay the project?
I think the question it has to be rephrased. We went to court and we asked for the matter to be discharged, and the learned judge prefers to hear the matter out. And so we will submit ourselves to the court and abide by the rulings of the court. So whether we can file for another injunction against the EMA, it's a matter that we will consider.
after this is determined in some way or fashion. But for this exercise, I stand advised, but I don't think that we can counter sue the EMA, through this process.
All right. Well, we're going to come back with lots more of this conversation because I really want us to get a bit into that and where the THA stands on our rights and how the court would be fair in its judgment moving forward. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this.
Tobago will never be the same. It's coming strong, but it's tired. This little piggy is tired. It's finally here, Tobago. The adult-only comedy that played to sold-out houses across Trinidad is finally in Tobago. One night only. Saturday, June 3rd at 8:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. Tickets available at advertised outlets. Check press and social media for details. Tobago, the Bacchanal Week.
Better run when you hear that. I said run when you hear that. Better run when you hear that. I said run when you hear that. Better run when you hear that. Run when you hear that.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival Fever. Book your passage and come on over. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Now, before we left for the break, we were talking about the EMA not giving that CEC clearance for the Shervan to Storby Connector Road. And one of the questions that I was asking is, can we as a THA here in Tobago ask the judge to give them a time frame within which they need to respond on the project? However, during the break, I was, clarity was given in that we did not, or the THA here in Tobago did not apply for any EMA clearance for the project. So give us a little bit more insight on that. No, and why none was applied for the
listen,
project.
we believe strongly that the THA of the past has had set the precedence of how the THA operates. And over the last 10, 15 years, even when there was a UNC government in Trinidad that would have put an EMA board into place and all of that, the THA from 2009 to 2013 started several projects without EMA approval. We have Bell Garden Housing Development, where a sewer treatment plant is on the bank of a river. We have Adventure Housing Development, again a sewer treatment plant on the bank of a river, on more than 5 acres of land. We have Blemen on a mountain. We have a breakwater in Pigeon Point. We have Princess Bay Jetty in Roxborough. We have the revetment we just did in Roxborough as well on Princess Bay further down. None of those projects, and those are just some, I can go on, name 20 projects. Castara Fisherman Facility, where the EMA actually wrote the THA and said, listen, stop the work. You don't have approval to build that fisherman facility next to a river, and where the river and the sea converges. The THA disregarded that letter and finished the project. The EMA never went to court to have an injunction against them. So the precedent that we have met in the THA is that the THA understood, and we believe the EMA understood and understands as well, that the THA is responsible for managing the environment in Tobago, and the THA, through its division and Department of Environment, can manage those issues themselves.
Right.
That's the impression, and that's the precedent that we have met.
Right. And
so we find this strange, and therefore we did not submit an application to the EMA. Strategy-wise, we may decide to do that now, but the EMA, in my opinion, has demonstrated a willingness to accept, to not object strongly, as they're doing through this injunction to the THA projects, and we hoped that would continue. Alas, it is not. And so we can't take away the right of any organization, any individual, from going to the court to seek redress if they feel that they have been harmed in some way.
Right, and as I would have stated before, in regards to how the EMA functions as an oversight body to implement the Environmental Management Act, a lot of us still don't necessarily understand how the EMA is supposed to function in Tobago, as you suggested. So give us some clarity as to how the EMA functions here in Tobago and under which division they reside.
The EMA's relationship with the THA is managed, I think, through an MOU with the Division of Food Production, now called the Division of Food Production. It's a long name, I don't remember the full name. But the Department of the Environment is under that division. And the Department of the Environment has had an MOU with the EMA. Now, the relationship is defined, I suppose, through that MOU. But we believe that the law, the same law that people seem to believe want to come down on the EMA Act side, the law that governs Tobago says clearly that the services shall be administered by the Assembly. All services under the 5th schedule, of which the environment, I think, is in item 20 of the 5th schedule, shall be administered by the THA. And so we have the opportunity, because of this action, to get a determination of what the court will decide, that in how the EMA should function or the THA should function, because this will have implication for every item under the 5th schedule.
Right, and regardless of the MOU, the EMA still remains an independent body of the THA.
No, the EMA is not a part of the THA. The EMA is an independent body, quote unquote independent body in the country. But the EMA's board essentially is appointed by the executive. And if I understand how boards work, boards are an extension of the executive. And so the level of independence is a subjective thing.
Right. And after the stage in the sea, that we saw in Scarborough, a lot of conversation happened in regards to that EMA clearance, and no clearance was sought by the THA. Shouldn't that have been an indication to the current administration that moving forward, to avoid such controversies and scandals and all the pushback that could come, that moving forward projects should seek EMA clearance?
Firstly, Chanel, I on my way here, the song has been in my head. It's a song by Kenny Rogers, Coward of the County. You may not know the song, but at some point in our relationship, we have to stand up. We can't sell our rights for peace forever and be given 4% of a budget. This boils down to that. The equal share of this national pie that we have in this relationship with Trinidad, that is what this is about. And every time we in Tobago attempt to move along that autonomy continuum, hindrances are put in the way by the PNM from Trinidad and now the PNM in Tobago. That is what this is about. This is not about the project. The PNM want the project. PO was coming to build the project. This is not about the lay-by that people call the stage in the sea in Scarborough. It's being used forever now. It's not about that. It is about preventing Tobago from moving along an autonomy continuum, because the status quo between the two islands is what those on the other side want to maintain. Because if we move and Tobagonians get a little more freedom and they see the benefit of that, it will spur a new independent type movement.
Right,
and
but
that is what this struggle is about.
Right, but this also goes back to something that I mentioned earlier in regards to consultation and getting buy-in from Tobagonians, because with the argument being presented in regards to the type of jurisdiction that the EMA has over Tobago, don't you think it would be to the benefit of this administration to have the support of Tobagonians when taking a position of this nature?
I think we do.
Because as opposed to it coming across as though this is a philosophy of Trevor James or a philosophy of this administration to go ahead and do things in the improper way, as opposed to it being the idea of Tobagonians on a whole, that we would not be restricted by any type of political sabotage by the central government.
I will quote this song for you just now. I just told you that we have the precedent of the last several administrations in how they started and completed their projects. It has nothing to do with this administration per se. This is how the THA before us acted, with silence from the EMA. So this is not a new thing for the EMA. The EMA has chosen to seek this injunction to prevent us from acting. And you know, we see this as another example among several examples of the administration in Trinidad attempting to stop the Tobago House of Assembly from functioning. They started with the bitumen blockage on the boat. We had to call them out on it. If that had gone forward, we could not bring bitumen to Tobago to make asphalt, to pave our roads and patch our roads. That came after. We built this road after we had the greatest patching exercise ever seen in Tobago in our first year of administration. When that happened, the first attempt was to prevent bitumen from coming from Trinidad to Tobago. People have to understand. Then they moved to the quarry. They wanted to stop the quarry from getting license that the quarry has been applying for 3 months after 3 months and year after year, using the same staff that is there, applying to the same ministry in Trinidad for these licenses. And they refused to give us in a timely manner after we apply 6-7 months in advance. This is the same continuation and another example that we believe of a government who, maybe because we are forming a party, or maybe because a general election is coming and they want to see no performance in Tobago. Well, local government don't impact us, but maybe it's all that. But this action by the EMA is another example, in my opinion, designed to prevent forward development in Tobago, and we have to stand up as Tobagonians and as men and say, hey, sometimes you have to fight when you're a man.
All right, and we're going to get into a bit of the technical specifications behind that road. And so we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back right after this. See you guys soon.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Tobago will never be the same. It's coming strong, but it's tired. This little piggy is tired. It's finally here, Tobago. The adult-only comedy that played to sold-out houses across Trinidad is finally in Tobago. One night only. Saturday, June 3rd at 8:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. Tickets available at advertised outlets. Check press and social media for details. Tobago, the Bacchanal Week.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Good morning again and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, we are coming down to the end of the interview. We just have a couple minutes left, so we're going to try our best to see how as much as we can cover before we have to go. While I have you in my presence, let me ask you as much as I possibly can. But we're talking about some of the technical specifications of this road from Sherburne to Storby. And the reason why we're asking is because you indicated that you came in and you met the projects on the book. And the initial proposal for the project was a dual carriageway one, whereas now you guys have a 2.5 kilometer single carriageway in the specs of the project. Tell us what caused that change. Give us some of the justification behind that.
Chanel, pure design the road as a dual carriageway. I think the budget estimate for that road was above, I don't remember the figure, so I don't want to be quoted on this exactly, above $150 million. We've come in, we looked at it, and we believe that we can still do a dual carriageway down the road, but for now, given the budgetary constraints that we have, we wanted to build the road and we start with a single carriageway. It doesn't prevent us down the road from having a dual carriageway.
Okay. Right, and this particular project is a design
build finance
project. And a lot of persons have indicated that these type of projects, although it allows us to do more with less, it just kind of pushes the debt further down the road. It's not the debt exists, it just pushes it further down the road, maybe for another administration to inherit or for another generation to inherit. And it also leaves out a huge portion of Tobago contractors from being able to fit the specifications to qualify to be able to bid for a project of this nature. Explain to Tobago why this is the best means of going about this type of project, and in the future, what proportion of projects are you looking to utilize this particular model for? For instance, 50% of your projects, maybe only 20%, because there is the conversation of giving opportunities to local contractors in Tobago who have the capacity? Or is it that we are going to work harder to help contractors to build their capacity to fit that design finance bill or design bill finance model?
Chanel, as a government and as a procuring agent, there are several modes of procurement available to the government. Design bill finance is just but one. Design build finance allows us to have a single point responsibility, and it allows us to bring private sector monies into the public sector. The timing of payment, again, we are not pushing 100% of the payment at one point. We are doing, I think in this project, 3 payments. And so we can design the financial model to fit the projected budget that we have. Yes, it's down the road, but I don't think it is 4 or 5 years down the road. So it doesn't constrain another administration, so to speak. The question of local contractors and all of that is a question that I continue to face. I'm on record of saying that we need to build almost an independent contracting cadre of people in Tobago, and that still remains. We are, however, where we are, given what has happened from 2020 to now. And the evidence we have suggests that several of the major contractors may be compromised. And so we have to tread carefully. Several of the major contractors have us in court as well.
When you say compromise, please explain.
I will come to that. Have us in court. Compromise in this case means that contractors made claims for works that they did not do and received payments for some of them. And so as a responsible government, we have to do the necessary due diligence to ensure that we are not compounding relationships that might lead to a detriment. And so we get licks for that, and probably I get a lot of licks for how this whole first year has gone in terms of whether we have local contractors or Trinidad contractors. There is silence in Tobago. We have the biggest project being executed by a Chinese company, contracted from Port of Spain, and we could probably count if there is any of the major contractors have a contract on that project, and the answer would be 0. We have no complaints, and all of that is because the contract was got into by a PNM administration, and people have, I suppose, a different level of expectation from PNM administrations, and people are afraid to criticize them. But there is no criticism. The truckers in Tobago can't get work down there. The truck that caused this major trauma in Tobago was working down there, left Tobago the same night of the accident. Somehow between licensing and the police allows that to happen. And Tobago is silent. But we are having all of this conversation about who is Tobagonian contractor, who is Trinidadian contractor, and how we should design a procurement model to ensure that only Tobago contractors get work. We have in fact contracted several major Tobago contractors, and we will continue to do so. This new legislation, however, requires contractors to treat with the procurement regulation office, and we hope that our contractors will get themselves up to speed and register with the procurement regulator, and we can see it'll be a little teething problem now and a little delays that we will face, but we expect obviously that Tobago contractors will benefit from the state. That's not something that we are averse to. We have, hopefully, if God blesses us, to build out the whole city of Scarborough, and Tobago contractors will benefit, and Trinidad contractors will benefit, and international contractors will benefit, as the Chinese are benefiting down there and taking a whole major part of our US dollars out of the country. But people in Tobago don't complain about that. It seems as though every action that the central government takes engenders no complaints from Tobagonians. It's a strange phenomenon. You know, we sat back. The WASA today is executing a work on state lands in Tobago without the express permission of the state, the THA in Tobago. Should we file an injunction against them and prevent the development and the pipeline going to the southwest, which will bring relief to people down there? Should we go to court and say, hey, this is our state land, and you know, let me stop the project? So in this relationship, we will continue to be the mature one, and we will continue to see where it goes.
So with that maturity, we can see you guys applying for EMA clearances until the relationship between the THA and the EMA is clarified.
Well, it's a discussion we had just last night and yesterday, in how we adapt the strategy to the current situation. We have essentially a month, 6 weeks for this to be determined in some way, and we will sit again and we will look at how the laws are being interpreted by the courts, and we would take decisions based on what we think is best for the island and to move the island forward.
Excellent. And finally, California Stucco Company Limited. They were the same ones that did that road that from Mount Mary that comes straight up to San Cecil. Am I correct?
Straight up to Dutch Fort. Yeah.
Straight up to Dutch Fort, sorry. And there was a lot of controversy surrounding the procurement process for that particular project. You know, many persons indicated that the sole select nature of that project, based on the emergency works needed, was not necessarily an emergency. But explain to us, in regards to this particular project, what type of procurement process did you guys go through to select this contractor once more?
Chanel, that question is fraught with inaccuracies, though. But
all right. Well, please indicate to me what aspect of that was not. That was not.
The contract was not procured under a sole select.
Okay.
It was a competitive selective tender.
Okay.
California Stucco was awarded as a result of the assessment of a selective tender, both for this and for the project that they have now won.
Okay.
But you see, history is a hell of a thing. And I just want to, because you raised it, you know, I suspected that would arise. So I came with this document. I'm going to read from an Executive Council minute of January 13th, 2021, and an Executive Council minute of December 4th, 2020, in the lead up to the January election. The lead up to the January election on November 4th, 2020, in the middle of COVID, the last executive used the Executive Council as a procurement agency. Hear what the minute says. That the Executive Council has granted covering approval for the engagement of suitable qualified local contractors to perform emergency restoration works on failing infrastructure throughout the island of Tobago that have been caused by inclement weather or otherwise. Otherwise is an important word, because you may not remember that year we had no inclement weather. We had no real storms passing through. Second item says that the Executive Council granted approval to the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Environment to sole select suitable qualified firms from the Assembly's pool of registered contractors to a tune of up to $99 million. The Assembly, through the Executive Council, gave authority to sole select work for up to $99 million. This is in addition, and 2 or 3 months later, in January 13th, 2021, when was the election? January 25th?
Yes.
2021?
Was it 25th or 26th?
Somewhere in the 20s.
It was 26th.
2 weeks before the election, the Executive Council approved another $85 million that they could not find and committed it for sole select contractors. That's $180 million between November 2020 and January 2021. We tendered that road through a selective process, and the Auditor General came to Tobago, decided that they were not going to audit 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and audit, in 21, and audit 2022, 2023 to pick up that road.
Right.
And all they could find in their management letter were projects tendered and contracted in the first half of 2021-2022 financial year by the PNM. So when people push that narrative, we have to, in Tobago, come to the place where media people take responsibility for developing a Tobago nationalistic agenda. We have to not only ask questions that opposition people are asking and push narratives that opposition people are asking. We have to find a way in Tobago to be part of a national building process used through the media to bring fairness and equity and to teach our young people as well that this thing that we call Tobago is all of ours, not PNM people alone.
But doesn't that give you the opportunity as well when questions are asked that the opposition is asking
why I'm here.
to bring the facts like you did this morning?
That's why I am here.
And have the clarity that is needed. Because if not, then those particular narratives dominate the space. So when the media gives you the opportunity to come and bring your facts and rebut, it is actually in your best interest.
Well, that's why I'm here, Chanel, because we continue, and I think our supporters are too silent. I want to appeal specifically to our supporters. Listen, we need to stand up and resist and to make sure that we are having an equal say on the issues that are affecting our development. This whole struggle that we are engaged in is about energy resources. If we become, for want of a better phrase, more independent, we will claim our energy resources, and this is what this is about, preventing that from happening. So you would see we went to the House and we debated that motion on the environment, and the opposition abstained from voting. They could have voted no. They abstained. In 1977-78, the motion for eternal self-government was passed in the House of Parliament, with PNM abstaining, brought by 2 minority members, the PNM abstaining from voting, criticized it throughout the debate, and did not vote against it. This is the same modus operandi today. They will criticize all we do, but when they have a chance to decide for themselves, hey, this is not what we want, they abstain from voting. This is the same PNM. And so we would definitely have to put more of this information in the public. But surely, you can't compare an executive council led by a gentleman who is today criticizing us, approving the commitment of $180 million, $184 million to sole select procurement. And not only preparing an appendix with listed contractors with which that money should go to. Well, that is what we have, and I will find a way to put it in the public because I am getting to that place.
Unfortunately, all our time for this morning is up. So we look forward to seeing
the interview.
No, we look forward to seeing this on your Facebook later on. So
no, it will not be on my Facebook.
We will be paying.
This is my happy week. I'm celebrating my daughter's achievement this week, and it will not be on my Facebook.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, whatever means you decide to use to get it out there in the public, we look forward to it because a number of persons would like to cross-reference the document and just have the facts as opposed to the fiction or the narrative as you see. But again, thank you so much for taking the time out to come to Tobago Updates and helping to make us the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, thank you for bringing the facts and the figures, and we look forward to continuing to have similar discussions in the future.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here, and thanks to the people of Scarborough Mount Grace for giving me the opportunity to represent them and have a voice in this Tobago space.
Again, thank you guys. That was our conversation this morning with Assemblyman Trevor James, and thank you so much for logging on. Thank you for staying tuned, and thank you for adding your comments, your likes, and your shares. Again, thank you for being there with us and making us the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Guys, enjoy the rest of your day. It's a bit overcast outside, so be careful. And yeah, have a great week, guys. Thank you.
To a brand new dawn, and as the passion start around.